Leaving Neverland. The shocking new documentary's child sexual abuse allegations against Michael Jackson and how the Jackson family's hitting back. Dems dig in. House Democrats launch a sweeping investigation targeting Trump's inner circle. Could this backfire on them and help the president get things started?
Now, Whoopi, I know you're watching.
Good morning.
Whoopi is watching today.
Red hot ladies.
Yep.
Yes.
Excuse me, I'm
sorry.
Whoopi is watching. She's at the doctor's. I heard she's watching. So, hi, Whoopi. Let's say hi, Whoopi.
Hi. We miss you so much.
We miss you, and we hope you come back soon. Feel better. Okay. So, Anna is here. Anna Navarro.
Yes.
You know, we have a lot to discuss about her wedding because she got married over the weekend, right? But we don't want, we're going to save that.
Is this your honeymoon?
What?
Is this your honeymoon?
No.
Well, I got to work to pay those bills.
But we're not going to talk about the wedding yet because there's this Billy Hot story going around right now where there's a documentary about Michael Jackson, and people want to talk about it. So maybe you should get the kids out because this is like really kind of gross. I, in fact, could not even bring myself to watch Leaving Neverland. I couldn't watch it. The HBO documentary where two men make sickening allegations about how Michael Jackson groomed them as children so he could engage in years of child sex abuse. This is the new allegation starting when one of them was just, I can't even say it, 7 years old. It makes me sick. Take a look.
Once the abuse started, within that first week, you know, every night that I was with him, there was abuse while my mother was, you know, next door.
At the same time, the sexual relationship is growing. He's working on pushing you away from your parents, or pushing you away from everybody else, and it feels more like it's just you and him. I was really into jewelry, and he would reward me with jewelry for doing sexual acts for him.
So, you know, Michael Jackson was by far the biggest superstar in the world at that time. I don't even think there's an equivalent to him today. If these allegations are true, is that how he was able to get away with it? Because people were taken by the cult of celebrity. You know, what do you think about that? I mean, how is this?
God, it's so upsetting, and I think it's, you know, it's so upsetting for us who grew up with him. That, right? We're that generation who, for us, he was larger than life and somebody whose songs we know and we still hear too. And so, you know, we keep hearing about these stories over and over and over again. I think we have to say thank you to all the victims who have started to speak. I think part of this is happening now because of the Me Too movement, because it's giving courage to people like Chrissy Blasey Ford, like victims of pedophilia by priests, like victims of pedophilia and predatory behavior by celebrities to come out and say the truth. It's a different time, but I'm with you. It's very hard to hear and process.
It is. I mean, you know, I spent a lot of my career prosecuting child sex cases, and I think one of the things that people will have trouble with is that during the sex abuse trial against Michael Jackson, a lot of these boys, now men, testified that nothing happened. And so people, I think, now are reluctant to believe them. But I will say that, you know, only 12% of child sex abuse cases are ever reported to the authorities.
How many?
Only 12%. And that is because sex abuse victims, and especially children, believe that they will not be believed. They don't have the language to even explain what has happened to them.
Even when when women are molested,
yes,
or attacked,
they don't come forward. They don't think they're going to be believed, and they feel that the perpetrator will come out against them. And you got to imagine that these people that are grooming them sexually, they're taking the place, they're supplanting the place of their parents. So there are a lot of levels involved and trauma as to why why they would lie. And I agree with you, Anna. There are so many people that are coming forward. Think about R. Kelly's victims that have come forward now. And so there's a real reckoning going on. I have friends that are still prosecuting these cases, and they're saying people are finally coming forward. And, you know, we'll see what happens to Michael Jackson's legacy, because I think he's been so beloved. His music is so beloved. Will people sort of cancel Michael Jackson? Remember, there was this movement, hashtag cancel R. Kelly or mute R. Kelly. Will people now stop listening to him? I don't know what the answer
completely.
If you turned on his song right now, any of his, I mean, I love Michael Jackson's music. If you turn that on in the room right now, right here, I'd walk out. I would walk out. And I don't think that there will ever be a point in my life where I hear his hits and not think about this. This is all allegedly. And according to these now men's stories back in the day, it's brainwashing. It's brainwashing. You make them believe. And he was gentle. They all say that. He was kind. But he made them believe that he was the only person that could love them that way, that could give them what they wanted. I got to tell you, we've watched so many documentaries in the past 2 years, because it's sort of been this movement in this time, and it's all coming to the surface. This was the hardest one for me to watch.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I didn't sleep Monday night. It was, maybe it's the hormones, but like a 7-year-old boy who is now talking. And maybe it's because I looked at my 1.5-year-old in the eye, and I think, you stole their innocence. If this is true, if what these boys are saying is true, you took their innocence, you took their life, you took someone's baby's life.
It's a horrible thing.
And so watch it. It is very disturbing.
But it was in front of, it was going on, in my opinion. I mean, didn't he tell Martin Bashir that boys was sleeping with him?
I was going to say, I didn't grow up with Michael Jackson, but I did grow up with Wade Robson, because he was a famous choreographer with Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears. He's responsible for the Britney Spears Snake performance at the VMAs. I had a huge crush on him when I was younger. He was a big part on MTV. He's a big dancer. And I knew Michael Jackson. Obviously, I knew his music, but I remember watching the Martin Bashir documentary in high school, where he said, it's very charming, it's kind, kids want to be loved, they want to be touched, they want to be held. I remember watching this documentary with my high school boyfriend and being like, he is a pervert. So I've been done with Michael Jackson a while. It is a very hard documentary watch. I watched all 4 hours, as you know as well. I watched Oprah's interview afterward. The people who are shaming Oprah and Wade Robson and James Safechuck, I don't understand it. I don't understand, and there's a big backlash towards this documentary and Oprah as well.
They don't want to believe it.
I understand we don't want to, they're inconvenient realities of our icons and of people in pop culture and people in these situations, but I believe James Safechuck and Wade Robson. I believe that Wade Robson didn't want to come forward because he was a big hit maker. He was at the top of his choreographer career as well, and he didn't want to be known as the kid who was molested by Michael Jackson. And when you're talking about the shaming, that is how I interpreted what he was saying.
And they still look pretty traumatized. I mean, for those of you who haven't seen it, you should see it, because that's the other thing.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, they feel traumatized, and then they you know, to sort of push the story away and say, well, I don't want to look at them, I don't want to hear them. You're erasing and devaluing their experience and what happened to them.
It's traumatic for the entire family. Think about how excruciating this has got to be for the parents to be hearing it.
Two of them committed suicide.
You know, it's a lesson for parents everywhere. You know, be suspicious. You know, put your children first. Nothing comes above the kids. Not relationships with celebrities, not money, not relationships with teachers. Be suspicious and protect your kids above everything.
But this is my problem with this. The Catholic Church, the Baptist Church, Hasidic communities, they're all allegations of pedophilia scandals going on in this as well. So it's not just fame and fortune where the gross and inconvenient and disgustingness of pedophilia is happening. It's happening everywhere culturally.
An epidemic.
It is an epidemic.
So our least protected in our society are the elderly and children, and we have to do more about it.
Gotta be vigilant with your kids.
I do have a legal note. Jackson's family and estate have denied all the allegations against him. The estate is suing HBO for $100 million, and on behalf of the family, attorney Howard Weitzman stated this: HBO chose to fund and produce a film where they knew the two subjects had for many years testified under oath and told family, friends, and law enforcement that Jackson did nothing inappropriate to either of them. The Jackson family said in a statement, "The facts don't lie, people do. Michael Jackson was and always will be 100% innocent of these false allegations."
And when we...
Wait, can I say one more thing? For whatever it's worth, Macaulay Culkin and Corey Feldman both say this didn't happen to them, and they were obviously young boys around him at the time.
Just because, and they do say that, but just because it didn't happen to them does not negate that this may have happened to these other two boys.
I agree.
I'm going back to the Martin Bashir interview. Someone was discussing this morning. When you say that, well, little young boys are in bed with a grown man, a bell should go off on the parents.
Here's what, just before we go, one of the mothers, James' mom, said, I didn't protect my son. That will always haunt me. I had one job. I had one child. I screwed up. She said, I danced when I heard that he died. I was laying in bed. The news came on. And I was, oh, thank God. He can't hurt any more children. I was so happy that he died. That was from the mom years later.
All right. Okay, we got that over with. When we come back, we're going to lighten things up and talk about Anna's fabulous wedding this weekend, because you won't believe who we were hanging out with. And I've got the pictures to prove it.
Bryan and Ryan Seacrest are...
So, Anna Navarro, this weekend you joined the ranks of those of us who are so blissfully married. How does it feel today, darling?
Where do you think I'm here? No, listen, it was wonderful. I'm about to write a book, I think, on how to plan a wedding if you're old and busy and have no time.
That's her father.
This is, and it's, you know, one of the most special times, I think, for any daughter is to be able to be walked down the aisle by her daddy, and I am a daddy's girl. It was really important for me, for my mom to be there. She's been in very frail health. And to be surrounded by people who I like and like me, who I love, to feel the support. I was really humbled by people who traveled from all over the country and all over the world to be with us. I wanted it to be fun. I mean, we danced till the feet hurt. I've been having nightmares. I literally had a nightmare, you know, because there were a lot of news people there, right? A lot of CNN folks, a lot of folks from ABC. I had a nightmare that Bob Mueller had dropped the report during my wedding. and everybody had fled, you know, for the scene. So I'm very, very happy.
They just showed a picture of Romney. Romney was there. Mitt Romney was there. Yeah. And
your new BFF.
I said to him, I said, hi, I'm Joy Behar, one of the sharp-tongued women from The View. Because that's what he called us when at the time.
And which part of sharp-tongued woman from The View is inaccurate?
Nothing. It is accurate. And I even said to him, you know, I wish that you were president right now instead of Donald Trump. And he said, so do I.
Yeah. Well, wait, though. So I get
very friendly. Very friendly.
Joy comes out during the morning, and it's Miami Beach, and it's very sunny. And Joy's wearing these, like, humongous glasses, dark glasses, but they're not prescription. And Don Lemon and I are sitting together. And Joy, you know, Joy can't see, by the way.
I can't.
And Joy goes, Don Lemon is with me. Sonny?
It was way far away.
I was
First of all, it was way far away. He was wearing a hat. She always wears a hat. Oh, he's skinny like her. It's not that big a deal.
In her defense, I was on my way to meet everybody, but
what do you remember most about the whole day?
Don didn't have a shirt on. So
like, when you look back on the weekend, what will be the biggest memory?
You know, everything, I mean, we worked so hard on this in a very short time, and everything came out exactly like I wanted. And it felt perfect. The flowers looked gorgeous beyond what I expected. I didn't try the food because I was too worried I would burst out of my dress. That was another nightmare I had. But everybody who did told me it was terrific, and I really just loved the vibe. I wanted it to be fun. I wanted people to dance, to celebrate, to have a good time. I mean, we literally had to, like, kick people out of there at 1 or 2 in the morning, and that's what I remember most.
Well, that was with Sonny and I with Wolf, and I'm like this. What's this?
Wolf was dancing. We were dancing. I don't know.
I'm like, oh, hi. I don't know.
Wolf Blitzer has moves.
I was dancing with Wolf, man.
Yes, he does.
That was good.
I'm sorry, I love the pony.
And
Do you like my pony?
Yes.
I wasn't sure if it was too much. But
You actually look like Sofia Vergara.
Please, it's a room full of Latins. Of course, nothing's too much.
That's what I figured, right?
There is no such thing.
And by the way, she had fireworks at the end of the wedding, and it was signed, sealed, deliver, I'm yours was playing, and I thought it was amazing.
Understated.
I love that. So Anna.
Okay, but we have to go now. But when we come back, we'll talk politics. We'll be right back.
Our season.
Welcome back. Whoopi, are you still watching? I wonder. House Democrats are casting the net wide, demanding documents from more than 80 people and institutions affiliated with Trump. They're focusing on obstruction of justice, public corruption, and abuses of power. So is this the right move, or could this backfire on them like it did when the Republicans wouldn't stop investigating Bill Clinton for the You know what he did.
I'm not sure.
Well, I think for me, it's hard to tune into which investigation is going on. And there's one for Robert Mueller, the Southern District of New York, District of Columbia, Eastern District of Virginia, New York City, New York State, and the House Judiciary Committee. So there's a lot of investigations going on. Yeah. And I do think Democrats are just throwing out to see if something sticks. There is the possibility that they could get out over their skis or overshoot the runway and possibly do what happened to Bill Clinton in the 90s. I am sort of sick of living in hypotheticals. I would love the Mueller report to be released right this second, so we can find out some information about what happened.
I'm okay with that now that the wedding is over.
Okay.
You're right. Why? Then what about the Southern District? They're the ones who are really going to get them, I think.
Well, can I show a clip of AOC really quick?
Sure.
Well, he's talking collusion, collusion, collusion. I think in oversight, we should be talking about taxes, 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 and his bank account, his bank account, his bank account, his financial statements, statements.
This is just going off of what she did during the hearing, the Michael Cohen hearing.
Right.
She's on the right track. Follow the money. Stop worrying about collusion. And again, I'm highly critical of her, but on this stuff in particular, I think she's tonally where Democrats should
history, Follow the Money got Nixon and it got Al Capone.
Yeah. And I've been saying it from the very beginning. I've been saying this is about campaign finance law, the hush money, you know, the workaround so that he would sort of elude and, you know, the American public's perception of having an affair with a porn star right after your wife just had a baby. He didn't want the American people to know that about him. I think we need to look at the emoluments clause, the fact that he is still lining his pockets and putting his financial interest before the interests of our country. I think that is where we need to go. And if you're the Oversight Committee, that's what you need to focus on.
Focus on that one thing. I think that this is going to backfire on Democrats because it is so broad. It's like they threw the kitchen sink out there. They're going to look into like
a lot of crimes, possibly.
Yeah, but I think there are enough American people out there that don't even like Trump that will say this is too much, and the Democratic Party needs to focus on what their 2020 is around the corner. What is their main platform? How do they win an election? That is how they're going to be most successful. But how about you learn from history, as we've all said? This was not a winning solution for Republicans going against Bill Clinton.
Yeah, but that was with one woman. This guy's screwing the whole country.
Right. Yeah. No, but look, here's
different.
Here's something that we have to keep in perspective. We're talking about different committees, right? So the Intelligence Committee, I think, has got a duty to investigate whether this campaign of Trump's colluded with Russia. And what in the hell is this compromise that they've got on him that he keeps coddling to this, you know, murderous dictator, oligarch in Russia? That's one committee. Right. The Oversight Committee, I think, should do what Alejandra Ocasio-Cortez is saying they do, and what you guys are saying, and follow the money. They are two different things. And, you know,
collusion is not a crime, though, and that makes me angry as well, because I actually think if you collude with a foreign adversary, you know I have the problems I have with it, but it is not a crime.
But conspiracy to collude is.
And I think you just said collusion.
Yeah,
so.
but collusion, and that's why Trump is using that. That's why he's saying collusion, collusion, collusion. There's not going to be any collusion, because he's duping the American people, and while textbook it's not a crime, conspiracy with a foreign government.
And also remember that when you have a congressional investigation, it might lead to legislation. For example, you know, if this Oversight Committee comes up with something, perhaps they should have legislation that requires presidential candidates to release their taxes.
Yeah.
That should be a requirement to run for president.
I think that will happen going forward.
Only if it's law.
Well, they have to.
Well,
you know,
I want to say
it was optional for Trump.
I want Sunny Hostin to put on your bio everywhere emoluments clause, because you really do bring this up.
I've been saying it
since I've worked here. You have been the person that has been on, and if that ends up being what gets him, you are the one that has been singing the alarm on it. Because it comes up, you really do say it almost weekly. Sunny Hostin, emoluments clause.
Yeah,
that's your next bio.
It's not going to get him, because the Republicans ain't going to.
All right, I have to go. We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
It's true, though.
competition shows ever is back on the hunt for the next American Idol. And here are the people who are going to make one lucky singer's wildest dreams come true. Please welcome hosts Ryan Seacrest and judges Luke Bryan, Katy Perry, and Lionel Richie. Since there are so many of you, we couldn't figure out how to...
I want to hug all of you.
Yeah, we couldn't figure out how to maneuver the hugging, so we were like, just sit down.
Down goes Katy.
These pants are kind of slippery.
Well, and these stools are not the easiest.
No. What did you do in the 70s?
We slid off the chair.
Slouchy.
But we had our platform shoes to protect us.
There we go. Well, Katy, we hear that congratulations are in order. Right? You are now engaged to your then boyfriend, now fiance, Orlando Bloom. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Were you surprised? Was it planned?
Of course I was surprised, and I was really surprised when my mother posted all the pictures on Facebook. Oh my, no, it was okay. Moms always get a pass. I think they get a pass for this type of stuff.
They do.
Yeah, it was lovely. It's been lovely. It's a whole different feeling.
Well, congratulations. And the last time you were on the show was in 2008, I just found out, believe it or not.
You've been hiding.
Yes. Well, there you go, for the release of your first mega hit, I Kissed a Girl.
Oh my gosh, that was before all my plastic surgery.
And apparently this happened.
What the heck? She's gonna...
I liked it.
The ratings have gone down ever since.
But when that song came out, I mean, it was just such a huge hit. When did you realize, wow, I've made it?
For all of us, and Ryan, you host a lot of things, so you would probably know that something like hosting the Oscars is like touching the ceiling. You know, you're like scared of it, you want to do it, but you don't want to do it, but you got to do it at some point in your life. The Super Bowl was definitely that moment for me. So I guess that was...
And you were amazing on the Super Bowl. I mean, everybody was talking about it.
Thank you.
Very good.
Well, we were talking about hit songs, and I can't believe this, but We Are the World came out 35 years ago. It was such a beautiful example of people coming together. I think we could really use that right now. What do you remember from writing that song?
Well, you know, there's several amazing moments. I'll tell you one funny story. Ray Charles was asking during the ceremony, he said, I've got to stop and go to the bathroom. And so, no one's ever heard this story, so I'm telling it to you now. You get an exclusive. And so Stevie said, it's down the hall and to the right. And Stevie Wonder. And so Ray said, oh, let me get this straight, honey. Let me get this straight now. You go down the hall. And Stevie said, I'll take you. So Stevie grabs Ray by the arm, walks out of the door, and Billy Joel turned to me, I forgot who it was, and said, did anybody see that? Did anybody hear that? He took him out to the... That's what happened.
Oh, amazing.
So that's what I remember most.
Wow.
I got to give a shout out to my sister in the audience. She missed school to be here because she loves all of you. Gracie right there.
Hi, Gracie.
But she is especially the biggest fan of Luke Bryan. And she went to bed wearing your... She went to bed wearing your t-shirt last night. And I'm like, oh, this is very real.
No, this is real.
It's very real.
I'm blushing.
I know. But you know what? You're such a family guy, and they're even a part of your new music video. What Makes You Country? You've got two of your sons in it, your nephew in it. I want to know, being such a superstar, how you keep life so normal. Because you're public, you talk about the ups and the downs.
Is it normal? I think it's funny you talk about that video, and we're sitting there and we're staging this campfire moment with me and my boys, and they physically start fighting and beating each other up. And it's, you know, so we get to video editing time, and they're like, well, we don't know whether we need to have the fight on. So we kind of manipulated how bad they were. But, you know, you have to separate them. But the main thing is, I think it's about having your core group of buddies that keep it real for you. But and you got to have your wife calling you out on your little
shit. She sure does.
Yes.
We love you, sweetie.
Very true. But I think it's about that core group. But then it's about just trying to have fun with all this stuff too. Have fun. You know, we try to, during the summers, sometimes I'll take one of my boys and bring them out on the road with me, and I call 2 days later and tell my wife she can have them back. But you know, just trying to make time and spread it all out. And you get it right some days, and you get it wrong some days. It's no different than a normal household, and but
you guys are always on some sort of adventure though, like with your boys.
We adventure it up quite well, and I'm like one of those naive dads that I'm like the Clark W. Griswold deal where you know I start with the greatest, I start with good intentions and naiveness, and then it just it implodes on
You
me.
speak for all of us.
You never know what's going to happen when you're with a bunch of people, right? That's how we operate on The View.
Yeah, and look how many people are up here now.
I know, there's a lot. I know. But Ryan, you know, you have so many jobs, okay? How many jobs have you got?
Oh, I don't know.
We'll start on your hand and we'll end on your hand.
A handful.
I mean, you were hosting 2 red carpets for 2 different networks. When do you sleep?
I sleep at the same time you do, 9:29. I put my head on the pillow, I fall asleep, and I sleep quickly. But I've always done a lot at once. I mean, we were doing the American Idol auditions, and I would do Live with Kelly and Ryan in the morning, get on the plane, fly to Denver, shoot auditions in the afternoon, and fly back here.
That's crazy.
You know,
Phantom. He's the Phantom.
Yeah.
Really are.
What's the craziest day you've ever had?
I think these audition days are pretty crazy, where I'll get up and I'll do a talk show, a radio show for Los Angeles. I'll fly to the other side of the country for 3 hours of auditions with this gang, and then get back to be here for the next morning. When we do the show, we do it live on Sunday nights, and I fly overnight every weekend back and forth every 4 days to the West Coast. But I know I work best when I'm busy.
Is caffeine your friend?
Yes. Matter of fact, it's taking total self-control not to chug this right now.
We got to brag on Ryan because like we were taping some stuff last week, and sometimes he's taping stuff that we're not in the frame, so we're sitting back there talking, and then we're talking, and we hear him make a mistake, and we're like, what was that? And everybody's like, Ryan Seacrest made the first mistake in 10 years. I mean, so he is true. Like
we were on tape, so I didn't really prepare.
Well, more with our American Idol hosts and judges when we come back. Katy, Luke, and Ryan. And that was Shay, a 17-year-old student from Virginia at her American Idol audition. This was an emotional moment for all. I feel...
Yeah.
Lionel's coming up. I see choking up again.
Well, you know what it is. You think it's going to be about judging.
Yeah.
And you think it's going to be about singing and performing. But then what I love about our show is that we listen to stories. It's winning over complete losing. And what you get is Shay, for example, she lost her eyesight because of a tumor.
Oh.
And you hear her story, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I left Tuskegee, Alabama. We had a rough coming, not really. And then you hear her story, and she says, well, you know, God gave me a different hand. Yeah. And I had to play my hand the way God gave it to me. But for her to stand there in front of us, I couldn't control it.
You better preach.
No, but
and she's so talented, too.
And on top of it, she opened her mouth.
Yeah.
She was good.
And I said, wait a minute, this is the end of the ball.
These are the moments that you live for. You know, Ryan, you've been there since 2002.
Yeah.
We used to talk about it on The View in the old days constantly.
Yeah, and then you stopped.
No, we always had, you know, Simon to go after.
Oh, yes,
he was always such a big budget.
Yeah.
But the technology has changed over the years, right? So what's the difference that you see now?
It has, and I know the judges see this. You know, the first season it was Kelly Clarkson, and it was Clay Aiken and Ruben Studdard those first few years. And the contestants would come in. The contestants would come in relatively prepared, but now with technology and YouTube, they come in so seasoned and so ready at a different start caliber. And so when you see what the contestants have done, Adam Lambert at the Oscars and Jennifer Hudson, what they did in the past, what they're going to do in the future may be even more amazing because of how good they are.
So they're starting at another level. Is anybody like Simon used to be? Was very strict. Basically,
I mean,
who does that?
You know what we say?
I'm like Simon Cowell with makeup on.
But Katy does it.
He had makeup on.
Exactly. Thank you for that.
We want to play a quick game. A quick game. As judges, your opinions are key. So you have a nickname for each other? The judgmentals.
Oh, yes. That's
what we heard.
Well, that's the name of our text chat.
Okay, so it's time to play. Let's get judgmental. We'll give you a hot topic, and you'll give us your hot take.
Okay.
Ready? Let's go.
Oh, man.
Taraji P. Henson is going to break the ageism glass ceiling. Is it better to find success when you're young?
No.
Oh.
No.
No. Better to find it when you're older.
When you're mature.
Why?
Not older, not younger, just when you're ready.
Yeah, the problem that happens the most of the time is that you walk in and say, I want to be successful. Great. You're all speed and no accuracy. So what happens, you get in and realize the business is not just about singing. It's all the things that come to you that you weren't asking for. Drugs, alcohol, you name it, the girls. Criticism, rejection.
Pressure.
You know, and all of a sudden somebody walks in one day and says, it's over. They told you you can only win, but what happens when you're 2 songs down, it's not happening, now can you come back from that? Most of them get into trouble on the dip.
I am learning so much today. Okay, another one. Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper's Oscar moment. Are they in character, or is there something going on?
Luke has a take on this. Luke has a take on this.
Yes!
This is so fun for me because people are like, they're in love. Oh my God, they're in love. And y'all are talking about, I'm like, they're actors. They're trained. They're crickets.
You enjoy.
You and I are on the same page.
They're doing
They're not even okay
they're not just actors, they're up for Oscars.
Exactly.
Deserving of their
All right, next question.
There you go. So thank you. Luke needed to get that out.
Thank you. I finally found my platform to release that.
All right. Margaret Josephs wrote a story about whether or not you need permission from your spouse to go under the knife. What personal decisions need to be made as a couple?
Sounds like you're going to send them to jail.
I mean, I think that's a conversation to be had about if you're going to go under the knife, because usually you need anesthesia.
Yeah, you need a contact.
Right. You need a contact.
Well, you got to get your health insurance policy in line. Yeah, I mean, your life insurance policy in line.
Trust and believe. I don't go and tell my, better half every time I get a little...
Yeah, a little something.
That would be your contact, probably.
Yeah, but I don't go under the knife for that.
No.
So did we answer the question?
Well, yeah.
You did.
Yeah, maybe get away with it once, but second or third time, you might as well have the conversation.
Depends on the region.
Yeah.
Depends on the geography.
It depends on the geography and the regions
Luke
you are
just revealed
working
something.
on.
He has multiple regions under consideration.
Well, our thanks to Ryan Seacrest, Luke Bryan, Katy Perry, and Lionel Richie. American Idol airs tomorrow night and every Sunday night at 8 p.m. right here on ABC. We'll be right back.
Our thoughts are with everyone who is being impacted by the tornadoes in Lee County, Alabama. We wish you all well. And we need to bid a sad goodbye to actor Luke Perry, who passed away far too soon at 52 years old. Whoopi called into the show to tell us that she was very good friends with Luke and that she feels very bad about it. So we all feel bad. He was a teen idol for you girls?
Yeah, another one we all grew up. I mean, at least me, I don't know about the rest of you, but I grew up on 9210, and, I had a mad crush on him, and he was such a good guy.
He was lovely when he came onto the show to surprise Jedediah for her birthday. That was her crush.
I've never seen a girl so excited.
Oh, she was out of her mind, and he was so lovely to her, and lovely to all of us. So to have a massive stroke at 52,
young,
is really something else. People have to look at the signs.
It happens to young people, too.
It does, yes.
Anybody have a last word? We have a few seconds left.
There's tomorrow's not, one thing I learned last year and a half, tomorrow is not guaranteed. Live your life in your truth and the way you want every day, because tomorrow's not guaranteed, and my heart goes out to his family.
And on that note, have a great day, everyone. And take a little time to enjoy the view. This is all you got.